Hello, friends. It's our first check-in for the Bloom Along, or maybe the second check-in. We're in week 2. We are cutting this week. That's all we're doing. And frankly, I forgot I was going to record these 30-minute sessions, and I didn't really dress up for the occasion, but it's a Tuesday. I don't expect anyone to be dressed up. Let's let participants in now and have a chat and see what's going on and see what questions need to be answered, or just cheer each other on. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, lots of folks here today for our first official check-in for the Zoom along, or not Zoom along, the Bloom along. This is where I'm at. It's only Tuesday and it's already been a heck of a week. I'll just keep letting a few more people in. So we have about 30 minutes together just to check in and see how everyone is doing. And if anyone has any questions, and to keep each other on.
So I'm just already behind because every time I think I'm getting forward momentum, the weather shifts and I get another migraine.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Just be resting then.
So that if my head ever stops hurting, I'll be able to catch myself. I was working on starching and I ran out of starch, and I went out to one grocery store and they didn't have any, and I went to the second grocery store and got some, and by the time I got home, my head was pounding.
Okay. Fair enough. Take a day off.
Yeah, well, I was be ready to cut. I cut out all my templates, but
oh, that's good. Well, that's a thing. That's something.
And I got my pile of plates.
And you should not cut unless you're in the zone. So if you're not feeling it, if you're tired, if you are distracted, if you're stressed out, don't cut fabric. Don't use sharp objects. And also I do recommend doing it in steps. Maybe you can breeze through the whole thing and cut it all in one session, but I encourage you to take breaks and just do.
Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, just do a few fabrics each day. You don't have to do the whole thing all in one day. You've got all week to cut them all out. And it's definitely makes a difference to just take a break.
My mother would always say when you were tearing something out at 9 o'clock or 9:30, tomorrow is another day.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, yes, I should put this down before I make the same mistake 3 times in a row.
Yeah, true. Exactly. If you're making mistakes, there's a reason. You're tired. Jane, you've asked for fabric requirements for a king size. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to it. I'll do my best, but I have a million deadlines and family things going on this week. I'll have a look again at the mock-up that I did. It might just be a matter of like doubling all your fabric yardage, and that should cover you. But I'll see if there's a quick way to do it. Okay. I'll try. What was the other thing? Oh, for those of you who are a little ahead and who are like, okay, now I'm sitting here all week and I've got absolutely nothing else to do with my day. What else could I do? What other steps could I take? So here's a little step that you could take if you want to. And I think Jill, somebody asked if they could go ahead and do this step. And that's marking the centers of all your curves and all your outer curve pieces. So what I mean by marking is that you could use a marking tool or just finger press. I use an iron. And let me just highlight myself so you can see. We're not getting to curves for another 2 weeks or so, but if you have time and you'd like to just do some simple ironing, then I like to iron these registration marks down the centers of all the large and small pieces that look like this, okay? Because those, you'll be able to line those up then with your orange peels and your quarter curves. So I do that with those pieces. And I do the same thing there's an orange peel, and you fold your orange peels in half and iron along there to get the center of the orange peel. And with the quarter curve, you're going edge to get just the center of the curved edge. And then when we get to that stage, they'll all be done, and you'll just be able to start pinning or glue basting. I'll show you how to do all those things when we get to it. But that's another step you could do this week if you've got time and you want to spend a bit of time doing something easy. Okay. Something.
I have a question on the squares.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this, I bought the template, thank God. But I assume on the squares that I'm going to cut into half square, into triangles, I'm just going to make a square. I'm making them large. I'm just going to cut a square, no template needed, 4 7/8.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, that's what I looked at the squares and said, I don't think these relate to this project right now. So
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need templates for those. And also you can round up. So say you're making the large. That means, and I've got in the cutting guide, I have 8 7/8 of an inch and 4 7/8 of an inch. You could round up, you could cut a 9-inch square and a 5-inch square, slice them, and then you'll have your triangles to make into HSTs. And then once you put your half square triangles together, at that point, that's when you would trim them back down to 8.5-inch blocks or 4.5-inch blocks. So you can always round up. I gave you exact measurements. And it's, if you want to round up a little bit, that gives you more wiggle room too for that 1/4-inch seam, which sometimes we're a little at least I tend to be generous with my 1/4-inch seam. And then I end up, all my blocks end up a little bit smaller than they really should be. So. All right. Are there any other questions about the cutting? Yeah, wiggle room is always appreciated, says Kristen. Yeah, I've gotten better at learning that. And also I believe in the pattern for the quarter or for the the quarter curves and for the quarter curves and the orange peels, there's a little bit extra on those outer pieces. That way we'll be able to trim those blocks down when we get to them. Okay. I think that's it. Does anyone have fabric selections they want to share? We've seen lots of people posting their choices in the squad, which is great. I love seeing all the different different palettes that people are working with. That's very exciting.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where you just said, I know when you look at the paper that you're going to create a template out of, that it has that gray area, that extra, the wiggle room.
Yeah.
But if you bought the templates, that doesn't have the wiggle room.
Do they not have it? Some of them
I
do.
don't think so.
Some of them do, and some of them don't. The older ones don't. The new version that Paper Pieces should be selling has that extra on it.
Oh. Is there a way to tell?
Yeah, it would be, and mine are the old ones, but it should be marked as extra. So it's almost like the
I think I got an old one.
Yeah, okay.
I just bought one and I think mine was maybe a used set. I was kind of surprised.
Oh, really? It's used?
Well, there is kind of, I was gonna complain about it, but then I thought I want to use these like next week. There's like out of this one, there's a kind of a chunk in there kind of scratched up. So I was wondering I don't know what they did. I should go back to them and say, how about a little discount? Because I'm not sure.
Yeah. Did you order them from a shop or from Paper Pieces?
I ordered them from the people that you suggested.
Yeah. Oh, that's odd.
The plastic on them. Did you peel off the plastic?
That not all of them had plastic on them.
Yeah,
so
they don't have plastic, and sometimes they have paper on them.
They're
If
definitely.
they don't have plastic, I would think that somebody might have tried using them.
Yeah.
I think so too.
That's weird. Or, I mean, yeah, they're all in a big warehouse. So, I mean, maybe they got banged around too. I don't know. I don't know how they store them, but yeah, it wouldn't hurt if you're not happy with it. They're expensive. So send them an email for sure. Yes, so Susan, we can't hear you. You're cutting out. Just a second. Let me just finish this thought.
Yep.
If you've got the templates and you want extra wiggle room for those outer curve pieces, then I would, cut the curve and then give yourself an extra 1/4 inch outside of the straight section, if that makes sense. Okay, or take your paper, because you'll be trimming it and estimate about a 1/4 inch, because you'll be trimming that off, but give yourself a little bit of excess just on those 2 sides on this piece. Okay.
Is this what you mean by wiggle room? My shirt's pretty good. You see how there's a gap here?
Oh, I can.
And let me spotlight you too so I can see.
Is that the wiggle room you mean?
No, that one is exact, right? So that one's cutting the exact size. So Leslie, on the 2 flat sides for that template, not the little points, but just the 2 longest sides,
Yep.
you could cut,
A
you could
little-
add another 1/4 inch or a little bit extra, but not on the ends. The ends you want to keep the same, and that curved section you want to keep the same.
I thought that indicated a little wiggle room there.
That should be a 1/4 inch though, right there, right?
Well, there's a 1/4 inch here and there's a 1/4 inch here.
Yeah, that needs to be on both sides.
So that if I sew this with a 1/4 inch, I'm going to have to trim this, and it would give me a little wiggle room to trim it. I would.
No, that's exact, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll do a little extra post about it. But otherwise, if you're using the exact templates, we'll address it when we get to the curves. They will work out. They'll be okay. Yeah, somebody had another question, their hand up.
I did.
Deb.
The same. So we're talking about the big one, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I bought mine new off of paper pieces, and it also just has the 1/4 inch seam. So you want me to add another 1/4 inch on either side of the big one?
You can. It's optional. If you cut it like that, when you put the pieces together, they're going to be exact, right? They're going to be 8.5 inch. That's going to be an 8.5 inch block. If you are worried at all about your 1/4 inch seam allowance, you should add a little bit along both those 2 sides.
Okay.
Just along this side and this side, not the ends though. Those ends should just stay exactly as is. Okay.
Got it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So it's optional if you want to. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's too bad. I don't know what's happening then. I need to reach out to them because I know that they had added it. Maybe they're using an old file. In any case, if you use the templates as is, the acrylic templates, you're not going to have any issues. It will be exact. When you put that block together, you will get exact 4.5 inch, 8.5 inch, or 3.5 and 6.5 inch. Okay. We'll just pay really close attention to our 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'll just keep reiterating that. Susan, whoops. I just muted you. Unmute.
So I just had a quick question. In your experience, find it easier to keep track if you just cut one fabric at a time, regardless of which shapes are called for, or one shape at a time?
I like to cut one fabric at a time.
Okay.
So I'll start with my background color, cut all those pieces out, X them out as I go, and then do another color. Yeah, color by color. Okay.
The chart helps you do that, right? The chart helps you do that. It's by color. You go across.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
go across.
Just wondered.
Okay.
Experience.
Yeah, there's another, there is one, my gosh, there's one error. Some of you might have it, some of you might not. Again, it's like those templates. It's a tiny error. You're cutting and it's an extra. You'll end up with a couple extra half square triangles. It's color 2, piece B, which is the smaller square. So for Bloem 1. Let me just show you where it is. Let me just open the pattern. I say you need 4 squares and you'll get 8 triangles. You only need 2 squares to make 4 triangles for that
Oh.
one piece. What's
The-
crazy is I know I've fixed it before in the past, or maybe I just marked it on a paper and I thought I'd fixed it, but I'll share my screen for a second. Let's go down to. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Bloom quilt. Here, Bloom 1, fabric 2. Here, this is it. I've said cut 2 piece Bs to make 4 triangles. You only need to cut 1.
No,
No, see, mine is
No.
correct.
Mine says
4 to 8.
4
to
to 8.
How come mine is correct and everybody else has the wrong one?
well, I
This
bought
is
mine.
what it
too.
should be. 2 to 4.
Yay, okay.
That's
Okay.
great. So I've corrected mine and then maybe I didn't upload it to Shopify. I don't know. Now I'm gonna have to fix it. So 2 to 4. Okay. That's the only error that should be in this entire pattern at this point. It's been out for years now. Okay. This is a Tuesday. The Tuesday is Tuesday. Also, my brand new Oliso iron is broken. It was-
I have not had success with Oliso iron. My new one is broken also. It doesn't steam anymore.
It doesn't even turn on. I plug mine in, it won't even come on. So I messaged them, they're sending me another one right away. But I was like,
Oh, no.
all my extra irons, because I know we all have more than one, they're all at home. And I don't have a car either because the car broke down. So there's
No.
it's like a
It's-
wild week here in the Elliott household.
Stopsy, really, no iron.
Yeah, it's
That's
only,
terrible.
it can only go uphill from here, right?
I suppose. Did you decide not to have anybody else help sew for you for quilt market?
So far, I think I'm going to be okay. I need to have a meeting with
Okay.
Andover later this week to figure out what we're sewing or what I need to bring. So I don't even know yet what my plan is, but so far so good. I might end up doing a slideshow with digital images. Thank you.
Okay.
You're
Having when it rains it pours kind of week. I hate weeks
Yeah.
like that.
I know. It'll be okay. We'll all get through it.
You can't see me. I'm under my covers. I'm not here.
Yeah. All right. So we've covered the one situation in the pattern. That's the correction, 2 to 4. We've talked about the templates. Also, did I talk about in the post using those paper templates can be kind of a pain in different ways that you can create better templates? Yes. Okay. Because using, going to the dollar store to get binders, or some people have also said some dollar stores have really cheap cutting mats that are made of plastic, a thick plastic, but thin enough that you can cut them. You can use those to make templates. Yeah, Pilar has binders, exactly. You just take those, trace your papers onto them. They're great instead of going to the sewing store and getting fancy or plastic. It's all the same stuff. And then the other thing too, which I'll mention, which I think I've mentioned before, is that these templates all work with the La Fin du Monde quilt. So if at some point, I don't know who has made it, but if at some point you would like to make one, or maybe at some point, I was going to say, oh, we'll do a sew along for La Fin du Monde. But you might be all done with making all these curves and orange peels for a while. So maybe next fall we'll plan for that. Give a little break, but then you can reuse your skills to do that quilt. And I'll show you what that pattern looks like. That is this pattern with the heart. And you can do it with all these pieces in the background, which I just taught this on the weekend.
Wow.
And some people have done it with all the pieces. I've only ever done it with like a solid background. So you can also, the other option is to use panels. So the only piecing you're doing is the heart, and then you're just using panels of background fabric. But it's all the same sizes, same templates. completely different quilt. Okay. So yeah, we'll do a vote after we're done this. We'll do a vote and see who wants to do this one a year from now. Yeah, so that's it. Does anyone else have questions? Is everybody doing okay? Did anyone else's iron break down or car? Oh, geez. Okay, well,
But my old one, my old iron is here. I just didn't get rid of it and it's doing okay.
yeah. See, I took mine home to iron a linen shirt for my husband, which I never did get around to. And now it's at home. So I'll bring it back in until I get this new replacement iron. But I started to make this. I posted earlier today that I started to make a pineapple block for a quilt that I want to do for Quilt Market. It looks like this, but the blocks are really big. They're 24 inches. And so I've been working out the math, and I've never made a pineapple block before. And so far so good, but I am disappointed I don't have an iron, but it's going okay. So I've gotten this far. So
That's
I'm-
really cool.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
checking out the math. It's going to be pretty big, but that's the beauty of it, is that I only have 15 more of these to make, and then it'll make a nice big, like 96-inch top. So once I get the math worked out, and I've been doing little videos along the way to remind or to just tell myself what it is I'm doing. I'll be able to type it up, or we'll be able to do a workshop. So maybe we'll do a workshop for something like this in the next little bit, because it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Liz, the other day on the social, you were talking about a Tara Lee quilt, that's kind of, that you thought about doing.
Yeah.
I noticed that Jennifer Sampu has actually done that quilt with her ombre fabrics.
Yeah. I hadn't
so she-
seen the finished. Did she post a picture of the finished piece? I'm not sure. I have to have a
no,
look.
I follow her on Facebook. She's local, and I
Oh, nice.
followed her. I could look at my phone real quick and see.
Yeah,
But
'cause
I-
she had.
Oh, I just saw that pattern like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
So-
and also Tara is in the Sew Squad. Tara Lee
Okay.
Quiltery. Tara Lee is she's a squad member. So I don't think she's been super active just yet, but we chat once in a while. Yeah, and it would look really pretty in ombres. So I might make that quilt. What is that one called? Legendary? No, Visionary. I think it's the Visionary quilt. I bought the pattern last week. So patterns. I have a folder that says other people's patterns. Legendary, no, it's Visionary. Yeah. So this quilt I'm thinking of making also for market. Because I'm always happy to, yeah. I think this would be really quick make. So that would be fun. And Tara, so.
Let me see, what does it say? Get your order in for the Visionary quilt today. See pattern designer Tara Lee Quiltery talk with Jennifer about the inside story about this compelling quilt. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, they did a live last week, I think. So
yeah, and that was like 6 days ago. So a
Yeah.
week ago.
And I think so Jennifer I saw them, they were cutting up kits for that quilt. So that
Right.
in her ombre fabrics, which will be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But I was so like, oh, I've seen that quilt before.
Yeah. That's fun. I know, it was funny. I was like,
It was
I
like,
saw the
oh.
live and I was like, wait a minute. I was just talking about Tara. Speaking of special, awesome designer people, Jenny Grover is going to be in the squad this Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern to do the Daily Creative a talk, and it'll be like a talk about kickstarting your creativity and finding ways to be creative a little bit every single day. So, and she's just really exciting to, listen to. She's a really, bubbly person and brings a lot of positivity. So that's this Thursday, and it will be recorded. I'm going to make the link easier than last time. I'll be posting the link right within the event, and then I'll share it in the feed so it's easy to get to. the recording will be available for 30 days. And then Tara Fawnin is doing a color palette, creating color stories, playing with palettes workshop next month. And so that's set up in the events. And that again is like a 2-hour class with her live. So if people are cutting up their Bloem quilts and they've got scraps, hold on to those scraps because we're just playing with scraps for that color palette workshop. She recommends using solids for her class, but if you don't have solids, just use what you've got. Okay. And then also, don't we have a squad social this week too? Got lots of things going on. Yes, I saw, Susan, that Jenny had posted about a family issue. I've reached out. She wants to still do Thursday, so that's good. And yeah, we've got a squad social, and then I would like to set up a Bloem like sew-in day. So I'll set up like a virtual retreat maybe where we get to work on the Bloem together. For a few hours, we'll get on Zoom. We'll all have our own snacks. I like going to retreats for the snacks, but I'll bring my own to my studio. Yeah, we could just socialize and sew together. And then I always feel if there are other people, if I can hear other sewing machines, it motivates me to sew. So I'll figure out a date for that and try and book a couple hours for us to do a few little sew-ins for the Bloem along. Okay. Does that sound good? Great.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, happy cutting, everybody. Does anyone else have any questions? No, we're good. We're good to go.
I have a bunch of questions about the curves, but
Yeah.
I'm a step ahead, so I'm going to slow down because it's just really frustrating me. So I'm going to slow down and wait until we do the curves one. You said in a couple weeks.
Okay, sounds good, Rhonda. Also, there is an on-demand curves workshop.
I've watched it
You watched it?
twice.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe we need a little one-on-one time. We can set that up too. But yeah, just ease yourself in. Just hold off for a little bit. But if it's really bugging you and you want answers now, let me know. We'll set up a Zoom session. Okay.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Peggy. Oh, you're on mute, Peggy. Peggy, can you unmute yourself? Sorry, I can't hear you. There we go.
Are. I'm sorry I'm late because we just got back a couple of days ago, but I've separated all my fabrics, and I think I haven't had a chance to read the first session you had, but I did read that when I'm doing the cutting out, I am to trace them out, and I have the acrylic templates,
Yeah.
but so I'm to trace them out. Is that correct, or do I just...
If you
cut
have
them?
if you have the acrylic templates, you can use your rotary cutter.
Okay, but I will have to add my 1/4 inch on the...
Well, that the 1/4 inch that's there is the required 1/4 inch. If you want any wiggle room so that you want to be able to trim down at all, you could cut a little bit more along just the 2 long straight sides. But those are accurate, but they're perfect. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm checking the chat, making sure nobody is missed out on anything. Great. Yeah, wiggle room is appreciated. Okay. Is that everything? We're all good to go? Great. Okay. Happy cutting, everybody. If you've got any questions or you need cheering on, and you're like, what the heck is happening? Just post or message me or what have you. And Rhonda, if you do want a one-on-one, just let me know. We'll schedule a little something. Or we'll wait till we get there. Up to you.
No, that's very generous of you. Thank you. I may take you up on it.
Sure thing. If anyone else needs some, and maybe too, even when we get to the curves, if there are a few people who need more than just this one weekly check-in, I'm happy to spend some time. Okay. All right. Have a excellent rest of your week, everybody, or at least get through the day. And we'll see you all soon. Hopefully we'll see some of you in Jenny's event and our social. And yeah, take care. Happy cutting. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Liz.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.